What's up, Amplified Unit? Just putting some finishing touches on some notes. Speaking of finishing touches, the coffee is freshly brewed. A nice hot Dunkin' smoking off the rails. Salute, hot off the press. If you don't mind, I'm gonna top this coffee off while I go over the cold open for Monday Night Raw, 10/30/2023, the Halloween edition. Salute, unit. Top this bad boy off. Look at that concoction. Look at that, huh? Mix. So Monday Night Raw, exactly what I said. Hold on, let me make sure you guys are good on playback. Check. Amp status. My unit, let's rock. Wake up, get amplified. All right, you guys got good playback. That sounded pretty good to me. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put my playback on, my earbuds. I appreciate you. Ozzy, dude, 9-month membership. Gonna be honest, haven't watched Raw in weeks. You haven't missed anything and you're not alone. They've been pulling in 1.4 ratings last couple of weeks, and this is not a show that would catapult anything that much higher. Doesn't look like. I mean, it was a weak-ass football game last night, but so that'll pump up the rating a little bit. But Ozzy, you are not alone, dude. Not a lot of people watching Raw these days, and last night wasn't any better. Ozzy, I appreciate the 9-month membership, bro. Let me put a little bit of, it's a hazelnut coffee, but you know what? A little bit of sugar, get a little extra amplified. Nothing wrong with that. Mix that up. That's right, I take my time. It's a podcast. I can take all the time I want now, right? It's a podcast. I love this format. Make a coffee. You guys lock in the earbuds and kick up your feet, man, for the next hour as we talk pro wrestling, more specifically WWE Raw. Alicia Vukovic, 10-month member. Where were you last night, Alicia? We had a big 10-month membership club on the live stream. Missed most of Raw, heard it was nothing anyway. Oh, you heard correct. Wait till you hear what happened last night, Alicia. You're gonna be thankful you saved 3 hours. I assure you. Ray Hunt is a 9-month channel member with that gold card. Ray Hunt, salute. Saw about 5 seconds of Raw. Saw Natty take a pie to the face and changed the channel. No way was I wasting my time. I think what you saw was Piper Niven took the pie to the face. Chelsea Green had a pumpkin on her head. That's what happened. Natty was getting a candy corn kendo stick to the dome piece. You can't make this up. I know the thumbnail looks like that's Natty, guys. That's not Natty. They were dressed as the Hart Foundation, which was actually one of the only funny parts of Raw last night. Chelsea and Piper Niven dressed as the Hart Foundation. And Piper Niven nailed the Anvil Neidhart. But that's not Natty, man. That was from last night. That's actually Chelsea Green. You can see the hair. That's not Natty's hair coming out through the pumpkin. That was Chelsea running around with a pumpkin on her head, and she runs into the post and knocks herself out because she was so razzled that she saw Nikki Cross's head on a table. You can't make this up, man. Man, they said Triple H's WWE will be different. Don't worry, Beasley. Oh, man. You know what? You could have made the statement last night when you took the tradition out of tradition. We don't need these trick-or-street fights anymore. Guys, the commentary was laughing throughout the entire match. They couldn't even, they couldn't take it seriously. They tried at first, and you have to feel so bad for the performers. Not even the fact that they have a pumpkin on their head, or they're getting chased around with a candy corn kendo stick, or they're bobbing for apples last night. True story. Or they're getting power bombed on candy corn. But the commentary is laughing about it. And it's not in the, oh, wow, this is so funny type of way. No, it is this is an embarrassment type. If anybody watched the show, JR9 Gaming, you up in here, you could tell anybody in the chat who didn't watch it. The commentary literally just didn't know what to do. They were mocking it is the best word. They were mocking the entire production of this match. And you have to feel bad for people like Natty and Chelsea and Piper Niven. I mean, Chelsea's a champion. How does anybody take that very seriously? They don't defend anyway. And when they are in the ring, they're losing anyway for the most part. Unless it's a trick or street fight, clearly. But this is one of those. First of all, guys, let me get a big swig of coffee. Salute to everybody up in here live. I only gave a half an hour of notice, as I usually do, on an early Tuesday morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. But it's only been a half an hour of notice. And on top of that, the Tube has a different way of promoting these now. Lives are no longer with the regular uploads. So it's harder to find these live streams than ever before. So I understand that most of you guys will catch this after. Just know it's not necessarily your fault. The Tube is the Tube. And BC only gave a half an hour of notice. So BC is BC, clearly, right? Still spontaneous. Still never know when I'm going live. So even if you guys are not live, if you are part of the future unit, salute to you as well. By now, if you're part of the future unit, if you're watching this hours from now, I'm probably on my 16th coffee. But for now, what is this? Number 3, I believe. Salute to everybody who is live right now. Thank you for smashing those ups too, man. Who's up in here, by the way, right now, live on a Tuesday morning? Eric Leno is, Brandon, JR9, there's my man, JR9 Gaming, Ozzy Edwards, Crazy Country, Ray Hunt, Marie Applewhite, James Porsley, Lawrence Cherry is up in here, 2 Extra is up in here, PR Devil, Strict Tango, CP the Trucker, Ben, Espino, Generico Falls. What up, Generico? Is that right? Yeah, Generico Falls. What up? Dante, Jaren 23. A lot of gold card up in here. Dave Mile, Alicia. Cool, man. Good to have you guys up in here for sure. We're gonna rock out. We got a lot of fucking we got a lot to talk about. The cold open is simple. Here's my cold open. If I can put the coffee back on the monster. Now here's the thing. B-Rock wants it to be the B-Rock 5000. It's originally called the Packer 5000, my new coffee machine. But B-Rock wants to sponsor this thing. He wants his mug all over. So B-Rock 5000 when it's wrestling, I guess. And when I'm doing my Packer reviews, maybe it's the Packer 5000. But the coffee machine is back up and running. Pretty cool. The cold open for Monday Night Raw goes like this. This was a house show. Guys, I have my notes on one piece of paper. If you've been following this channel, you know what that means. Nothing happened last night. When all of my notes, usually it's a full page per hour. Usually I have 3 full pages of notes. And that's even on a bad show, because then at least there's a lot to talk about deciphering. You know, like this could be good. This would have worked if, and then we can discuss. But when I have 1 page, it's not even worth discussing. It just means that this was as lazy as could possibly be. Pretty much means they just threw a bunch of like matches out there and hoped that just filled up 3 hours and then everybody gets to go home. It's Crown Jewel. They don't want to think about this show, right? And I wish we could say it's just this show, but that's Monday Night Raw for 10 years. So this was 1 page of... This was 1 page of notes, and this was a house show. Literally just match after match after match, and nothing happening, right? The only positives I can give you is Xia Li looked more badass than ever before. I hope that keeps up. And the Creed brothers had a good performance. I wish I could tell you more in a 3-hour wrestling show, but I can't. This was a house show. Nothing you saw last night is anything you would have not have seen at a house show. And you look at the crowd, right? They were all giggling and doing the golf claps and some chants, right? Because they were so happy to be there. And that's fine, right? That's a different type of crowd. I tell you guys this all the time. The crowds that go to these arenas, those are the most casual of fans, right? Those are the fans that'll cheer for anything, right? WWE tells them to do one thing and they will fucking jump higher than WWE told them to jump. They just want to get out of the house and have a good time. There's nothing wrong with that. Go have fun, create an electric atmosphere, and hopefully you'll make it more fun for us, right? But the crowd is casuals. It's a lot of families that go to these shows, a lot of families. A lot of fans that won the tickets for free through the radio stations or the television stations. So they got free tickets. They're just literally happy to be there. Nothing wrong with any of that. But they're not fans like most of us that just truly want to see a better product, right? And we know when a show is truly good and captivating, and we cannot wait till next week. There's cliffhangers, our interest is piqued, and shows that are just not good. They're actually bad. They didn't do anything. We're not interested at all. We're waiting for the show to get over. We're looking at the clock. How is there still 80 minutes left in this show? Right? There's fans like us. Our bar is a little bit higher. Our standards are higher. So these arenas get filled with fans like that, and WWE loves that, right? Let everyone see that all of this is awesome, right? And do your claps and giggle. But when WWE stumps their own casual fans, stumps the families, when they don't even know what to do and aren't cheering, that's when you know you're fucking up. And that's what Paul Levesque McMahon did several times last night. And we're going to go over that, trust me. But up front, this was a house show. I have 1 page of notes compared to what I usually have, which is 3. They just filled it with a bunch of matches. You got wrestling action on a wrestling show. Wow, have never seen enough wrestling matches in my decades viewing this product or the industry as a whole. I've seen enough wrestling matches to last 87 lifetimes. I'm watching a 3-hour television show to be captivated, to have cliffhangers, to get stories that'll get me to the next week and want to buy the pay-per-view in a way where I'm gladly handing over my money. This was a house show last night, complete with everything I said. JR9, are you still up in here? Okay. JR9, please tell me whenever I'm speaking any lies. Last night we did a little bit of a live stream. Again, nobody would have noticed because I gave 25 minutes of notice and the tube doesn't really promote these. They put them in a totally different section away from the original upload. So unless you go live at a certain time every single, your audience knows when you go live. Unless you're like BC or like that, if you're like how BC goes live, not a lot of people realize it. So a lot of you guys had to catch it after the fact. But we did go live last night. Channel members chat only last night. And Jared and I, this is what I said was going to happen before the show went live last night. I said, you're going to get roll-ups? Check. Roll-ups happened last night. There was definitely a fucking roll-up. And then I believe hour 1, we'll get to it. Roll-up, check. You're going to get the roll-up finish. You're going to get the pumpkin on somebody's head. Doesn't matter if this is Vincent Kennedy or Paul Levesque McMahon, you're going to get the pumpkin on somebody's head along with the candy corn kendo stick and all the BS that comes with it. Check. You got the pumpkin on the head, you got the candy corn kendo stick, and you got a whole bunch more, didn't you? You got the bobbing of the apples, you got it all. I told you you're going to get a face versus face match, at least one. And most likely they're going to shake hands afterwards. Well, we know that the Creed brothers were taking on Alpha Academy. But you knew, I told you guys, this is Paul Levesque McMahon's new thing. Shake hands afterwards, everybody. Let them know that you had a great contest and either man could have won. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're doing it sporadically, right? Here and there. Very few and far in between, though. Separate that. In the last 2 months, I've seen it at least 7 times. This isn't amateur wrestling. Not everybody's in there just to have a good athletic contest. Once in a while, you do the handshake thing and show the respect. That's how you keep it prestigious. If you're doing it every show, man, it's done. Didn't we just see it, JR9? Was it Escobar and Dragon Lee, or is Dragon Lee and somebody just on SmackDown or some shit? And they did the handshake afterwards. In the last 2 months, this is about the 8th time, actually. But I told you guys up front in yesterday's stream before Raw, I said, you're most likely going to get the handshake face-to-face finish. And I told you guys that Cedric, my bad, Cedric and Dragon Lee, JR9, thank you. Big Nang, thank you. Flip. I appreciate that. So I told you guys, you just got on SmackDown, you get on Raw. Now that's Paul Levesque McMahon's thing, man. Everyone, they'll forget you lost if you just shake hands afterwards, man. Show that, man, wow, you're good. You're good, right? Becky Lynch can shake hands with fucking Tiffany Stratton. Heels. Shayna Baszler can shake hands with Zoe. I told you that last night. I said with the faces versus faces, I said don't be shocked if you're going to get heel versus heel. That's what Paul Levesque McMahon's been doing too to confuse his audience. Bronson Reed versus Gunther. He upped the ante last night, didn't he? Check. BC was right again. Miz and Gunther? Did you see the crowd who just wants to cheer for everything? They just want to be out of the house. The crowd was stunned because they didn't know what to do. They were like, well, he's the obnoxious, annoying idiot. Gunther is just the evil villainous heel. And they're just going to war. What do we do? The crowd didn't know how to react. I don't blame them. Why is Gunther in a feud with Bronson Reed and the fucking Miz the last 3 weeks? Who is this helping? None of them are turning. Paul Levesque McMahon's Monday Night Raw last night, like it's been since he's had control, but the last several weeks have been really off the rails. This makes no sense whatsoever last night. He put together a bunch of fucking matches in the hope that nobody would notice. Hey, we're just going to fill it with a bunch of matches. Come on, man. Dominic Ricochet. Did you guys see the bulk of the show last night? Sami Zayn and Judgment Day still. For the 97th month in a row, we are getting Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day to start the show and then to end the show in 3 backstage segments in between. Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day is still anchoring Monday Night Raw. 2 months ago, do you remember Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens promised us this is it? We know you guys are annoyed. We know we've been doing this for months. We are just as upset as you guys are. We are just what was it? Payback? That's going to be the final match. We promise this tag team match. You'll never see us together again. And what happened? Every single show afterwards, they've been intertwined. Kevin Owens was able to get the Willy Wonka golden ticket and go over to SmackDown. Sami Zayn is still fledgling around with the fucking Judgment Day. JR9, I could not agree more, bro. If this was the reason that Sami Zayn left the fucking bloodline just for the Elimination Chamber payoff, because wow, they just stick anybody with Sami Zayn. He's the little dude that you really want to succeed, but he just can't. So everybody has to help him out, right? He's always out there with Kevin Owens or Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso. Last night it was Ricochet. We'll go over it. That's my cold open. Everything I told you guys you were gonna get before Raw, check. BC was right. You don't gotta like me, trust me. You can listen to these podcasts just because I know what I'm talking about and it's highly entertaining, but you can claim you don't like me. That's cool. But you cannot say that every fucking thing I say doesn't come fucking true on these shows. Check. I was a mile ahead of Paul Levesque McMahon before he even produced the show. And that's not good. A television show, you should not know what's about to happen. Raw is redundancy. Raw is bore. And last night, Raw made no sense whatsoever yet again. The only thing that was a Halloween aspect was how scary bad this show was. Roll-ups, pumpkins, faces versus faces, with handshakes afterwards. Heels versus heels, Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day. That's your cold open. That was Monday Night Raw. If you didn't watch the show and somebody tries to sell you a bill of goods, if somebody tries to go, man, Raw was good last night, remember what I said was on this show. Roll-ups, pumpkins on heads, Candy corn kendo sticks, bobbing for apples, heels versus heels, faces versus faces, handshakes, and Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day was your main storyline. Don't let anybody ever fool you guys. You're smarter than that. Raise your standards, raise your bar. We all want the best in professional wrestling. We all want WWE to succeed. Truly, not just the business aspect where Vincent Kennedy or Nick Khan or Ari, Emmanuel, Endeavor, Paul Levesque McMahon, where they're all making a boatload of money. That's fine. But we're talking business is booming for the fans because the creativity is top notch. Everything we are viewing is amplified. And until that happens, no, we shall continue to preach and rant, bitch, moan, and complain until we get a better product. Just like we're doing for my Packers this year because they suck and we're letting management know about it. Just like we did for my Yankees because they sucked and we let management know about it. And just like my New York Knicks for 20 years sucked and we let management know about it. They refuse to change. We refuse to stop bitching, moaning, complaining, and ranting. Professional wrestling is not off the hook. They don't get a pass. If it's really bad, we're going to talk about it. Because there's a lot of us that are not paying the money to go to these shows to chant, "This is awesome." And when Paul Levesque McMahon says jump, we say how high. No. When he says jump, we say no. Why should we? What's the reason to jump? How's that for a cold open? Now we shall get to the review. Unit! Salute. Actually, before I get over to the review. Hold on, man. Let me get to the big screen over here. I think before I get to the review, there was a couple super chats that I want to give a salute to. Dave Miele with that 5-spot coffee. I see you, brah. Dave, let me just make sure it's on the big screen, dude, if you don't mind. Got to give Dave the proper shout out. Dave with that coffee says, even more proof that WWE does watch your feeds. Even Michael Cole called Candice LeRae Candice Michelle. LOL. Even Wade Barrett roasted him a bit. Yeah, that was during the... if you guys missed it, LeRae and Xia Li and Michael Cole was calling Candice LeRae Candice Michelle. I did the same thing on last night's stream. I did it a little bit more on purpose, but it does seem a little coincidental there, Dave. But Wade absolutely was blasting. And those are the matches that I'm talking about. Commentary is checked out. Michael Cole, have you guys noticed? Michael Cole's checked out. He doesn't even care anymore. And I can't even say I blamed him. He made enough money with Vince now moving on, and now Triple H is not really fucking changing much of anything. I think Michael Cole knows that his time is nearing an end. He wants to kind of take a little bit more backstage role. He's going to try to get his team of commentators and his ducks in a row, make sure that they're set, and then he's going to move on. Michael Cole's done, bro. He was laughing at most. He knows how bad this product is. If you are wondering how bad Raw is, listen to Michael Cole the past few weeks and listen to him last night especially. But Dave, yeah, that was fucking hilarious, man. Candy Michelle and Candice LeRae. Yeah, Wade was going hard on him too, man. That was the only LOL moment of that fucking night, along with the Hart Foundation. Those were the only true laughs. It wasn't aerobics Tozawa or anything else they had planned. Michael Cole fucking up is the funniest part. Michael, hey Dave, I got one for you. Michael Cole, not the candy corn! It's the candy corn! Wade, it's the candy corn! The fucking thumbtacks. But they were candy corn, and she gets power bombed, and that's the Michael Cole, was trying to save what he knew was obnoxious television. Stegmeister, Ash Steggles, 2-spot Wolfie. I switched Raw off after the first segment. Stegmeister, appreciate you again for last night, man. Stegmeister, last night's stream, put up a big banger bomb that got BC amplified from the jump. So my rant last night was a little bit longer than it was supposed to be, but that's because people like Stegmeister and Angel Olega were dropping bombs last night. So Stegmeister, I appreciate you, brother. I switched Raw after the first segment. Bro, it was the first segment, which I'm about to go over, was Sami Zayn and Judgment Day. So I don't blame you. I could not believe they were starting the show like that, but at the same time, I could believe it. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Doesn't matter if it's a VKM or an HHH. You're going to get a lot of the same shit because they refuse to change the formula. Dave and Stegmeister. Hold on, before I start the review, man, there was a couple more that came in. I want to make sure I'm keeping up on all these shout-outs, man. Christopher Blackshear, 2-Spot Coffee. Judgment Day is dumb right now. Sick of Rhea. Christopher, first of all, salute. Good to see you up in here on this Tuesday morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. But Christopher, I'm done with the Judgment Day as a whole, and I like all of them individually. You can even throw in the McDonuts. But wow, is this group horrible for business? Because this is the easiest. Levesque McMahon doesn't have to do anything. Like Vincent Kennedy, they just moved puzzle pieces. They made a faction that is not fun. All they're doing is taking all their faces and they just intertwine them in 6-man tags, tag team matches, and then one-on-one. Cody is going to take on all of them and then tag matches. Sami Zayn has a never-ending feud with them. There's no real story. They're just fighting every week. So I don't even call that a story or a feud. Jey Uso comes over and he's right involved with them. And guys, what I mean about lazy booking is you can just do this till the end of time. Because they're just redoing matches as well, right? It's not like you're just doing first-time matches all the time. They're just repeating the matches. So Judgment Day, we could get this version of them for years. Theoretically. The Judgment Day is beyond stale. I am beyond over them, and it's not even their fault. It should have worked. Whether Edge was the leader or Finn Balor or Rhea Ripley, whoever you look at as the leader. It should have worked. A faction should make the product better. I'm not saying it has to be like the NWO or DX status, but a faction should make a show better. It should intrigue the consumer and the audience that you have. It should intrigue them, pique their interest. A faction should not be around. A faction should not be around to bore people into a brick wall. A faction shouldn't be made just to make your booking and creativity as easy and peasy as possible. It's absolutely, it's numbing right now what they're doing with the Judgment Day. A couple more super chats before I start the review, but I want to give a shout out to a 10-month membership. God Swilla, one of the first to get that gold card, actually. So 10 months personified. Sami Zayn is on a kickoff show. What a fall from grace from main eventing WrestleMania. I heard something about that, God Swilla. You can, guys, fact check me in the chat if you don't mind. I think Sami Zayn is going to be taking on JD McDonuts during the kickoff show of Crown Jewel. Somebody confirm that, please. But yeah, God Swilla, thank you for bringing that up. So more Sami Zayn Judgment Day at the next pay-per-view, Crown Jewel. And it's not going to end there, guys. It'll be back on Raw, and it'll be the next week, and they'll do something at Survivor Series. Sami Zayn will not get away from the Judgment Day for the foreseeable future. This is a whole year of redundancy. Long-term storytelling, Beasley. No, this is not long-term storytelling. This is literally redundancy. This is just fighting each other every week. That's not a story. That's literally not a story. Yeah, I like that. Who was that? Flip? It's the never-ending story. Yeah, that was a movie back in the day. Never-ending story. Yeah, so that is going to be the match at the kickoff show. Can't make it up, guys. This is what I'm saying, man. You know, it's not just BC just being harsh or being too negative. I'm just telling you the facts, and I just don't see how anybody would be okay with this. You'd really have to have your pro wrestling standards and bar really low to accept this type of horse shit. And I just can hope that those type of fans, they raise it one day. One day they wake up and they realize this is not the best that we should be getting. Tony Partita with that 5-Spot Coffee says, I'd rather watch Iron Mike Sharp, the best jobber in the WWF back then, than watching Raw. Keep rocking, BC. I totally would take Mike Sharp. And there was also I always bring up the Brooklyn Brawler and the Barry Horowitzes, but Mike Sharp was one of the best jobbers because he sold the shit out of the superstar that he was supposed to put over. So that's what we need more of today, Tony. Iron Mike Sharp comes in, and Bronson Reed is going to be instantly over. Little Jonathan Gargano will be instantly over, even with the casual fans. We need more of those type of jobber matches because what we're doing now, 50-50 booking everybody, nobody, even the casual fans are seeing that nobody's a true winner. There's no reason to really get behind anybody. They lose just as much as they win. I tell you, JR9 Gaming, 5-Spot Coffee. Raw was Chelsea's first main roster singles win. Also, their first title defenses tonight on NXT. At least I'm seeing EO and LA at a live event in a few hours. Yeah. Where's the event, JR9? Where are they? EO and LA night tonight. Fuck yeah, JR9. These are actual wrestlers that we actually want to see. That's why SmackDown has a little bit of an edge at times over Raw. They at least have some people we don't mind seeing. EO's actually being booked correctly lately. I hope, as much as I love Bianca, I hope Bianca does not take that title. And as long as Charlie stays away from it, let EO keep progressing. And I don't know how you're going to book LA Knight, but if he just loses to Roman and then he goes to the back of the line like everybody else that Roman has beat, that is tragic for LA Knight. Oh, Glasgow, Scotland. Oh, yeah. So they're in Scotland, JR9. That's why Drew wasn't there. Okay. Burn it up, bro. And as far as that statistic on Chelsea, I absolutely believe it. They don't know what they're doing with the tag titles because Piper Niven just took the title. Piper Niven declared herself the tag title holder. I don't know if you guys remember that 3 months ago, 2 months ago, whatever it was. She walked in and took the title, and Adam Pearce was like, okay. I think they thought people were just going to forget about it. You know, maybe if we don't have them compete with the titles often. Maybe if we just could have put a pumpkin on Chelsea's head and put a pie in Piper's face, or we dress them up as the Hart Founder, people will forget about it. JR9, man. Rock it out at the event, dude. Over 100 on the ups on a Tuesday morning. I appreciate that big time, guys. Into the future unit that's going to catch this afterwards, man. Make sure you smash that up. Help out too, man. You still are on duty, even if you're not catching it live. All right, guys, let's talk this review. What do you say? Monday Night Raw, hour. It's all on one page. Literally nothing happened last night. But hour one started with Sami Zayn and the Judgment Day. Please think about that. Hold on, guys. I got to give a shout out to a 10-month membership. Clutch City Fan just popped up on my screen. I honestly haven't watched Raw in a long time. This show just keeps getting worse. It feels like a kid's show. If you're going to stick around for the review, Clutch City, you have no idea, man. Because the kid shit is coming with this fucking Tricker Street fight and some of the wrestling that took place last night and the booking decisions by Paul Levesque McMahon. Wait till you hear this. Clutch City Fan, I appreciate you, man. 10 months strong. And we've only had gold channel membership for 10 months. So that means right from the jump. Clutch City Fan. Guys, Sami Zayn and Judgment Day started this show yet again. They start every Raw, they end every Raw, or though it seems. And they start this show, and they ended the show, and they had segments in between. How are we still doing this? When I told you guys, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens told you, we promise it's done. We hear you. It's old, it's stale, nobody is enjoying this. And screw enjoying it. We shouldn't be anyway. We should be captivated by what we are watching. And nobody is. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens said that's it. And here we are 2 months later, and we're still doing Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day. Because the company doesn't have anything. Paul Levesque McMahon doesn't know what to do with these characters. He doesn't know. He has a faction of heels, and he's got a bunch of faces, top faces, and he's just gonna go, just keep doing that. right? I'll concentrate on Rumble and WrestleMania season. So for the entire rest of the year, just do that. Where I come from, that is called bare minimum. That is called lazy. That is called redundancy. And that lack of effort, that laziness, is downright unacceptable. Or it should be. Not just to the amplified man. It should be unacceptable to you. The same things that we screamed and bitched and moaned and complained about with Vincent Kennedy, you better hold Levesque McMahon to the same standard. Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day, because it's easy. From a production standpoint, I get what they're doing. It's easy. It's familiar with the crowd, right? Sami in Judgment Day. You've seen it for 9 months. It's familiar. And then Ricochet hits the ring. This makes no fucking sense because Ricochet has a match with like Dominic coming up. So Ricochet is now helping. Now we're used to the right familiar. We're used to Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. It's Ricochet now who's going to help out Sami. And Ricochet, right? We go to break. And we come back and we have Dominic Mysterio versus Ricochet. And it takes us straight through the first half an hour of this show. Typical finish as Rhea Ripley causes a distraction. I mean, who could... a fucking toddler with a Post-it note and a crayon could have scripted this match out. The finish. Rhea Ripley causes a distraction. And Dominic defeats Rico via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating... We had to get revved up. Roll up. You gotta have a fruit roll up on the show. There was a time in pro wrestling where the roll up was protected, right? It only happened when two wrestlers were drained. They were wrestling for 25, 30, 40 minutes and they got hit with the roll up, right? Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat, WrestleMania 3, I always bring up. I always bring up Bret Hart and British Bulldog from SummerSlam, 92, I believe. 91, 92, I think it was 92. Wembley Stadium. Right, that's when the roll-up is so special. Or right from the jump. Very, very few and far in between. You can do it right from the jump. Shock somebody with the complete package, the total package. Small package, roll-up, right? And they're so caught off guard, they can't even think, what am I... Once in a while. Nowadays, the roll-up is on every show. Sometimes 2-3 times a show. Literally, you see roll-ups everywhere now. The people are just holding their opponent down, middle of the match. And when I say middle, I mean 3 minutes in, 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in. They're just holding people down. No moves. Back in the day, you saw the Jake the Snake Roberts DDT. You saw Batista Bomb, an RKO, it was called, a Tombstone Pile Driver, a Hulk Hogan Leg Drop, an Ultimate Warrior Press Slam, a Macho Man Elbow from the top rope. Bret Hart would be tapping you out with a sharpshooter, maybe Ric Flair with a figure 4 leg lock. Eddie Guerrero would be leaping off the top with that splash. Everybody had their finisher, and you knew that was the finish of a match. These days, nope, lazy. We're just going to do the roll-up, and we're going to make it look like that person that he just beat, he had a chance. He barely got beat. He could have won. He was hit with the roll-up out of nowhere. That's what we do now, because everybody's 50-50 booked. So the company thinks that to protect the wrestlers, because they are hurting them, they're the ones that are 50-50 booking them into irrelevancy. So to protect them, you lose by a roll-up. That way the other wrestler knows that wrestler barely got beat. And you're hoping that the audience goes, oh man, anybody could have won that. The roll-up is what finished it. But if that didn't happen, wrestler B could have beaten wrestler A. That's what they want you to think. See, on this channel, BC's going to take you behind the curtain, and I'm going to take you to the actual philosophy of pro wrestling. I understand that's not for everybody, but I'm going to put you into the psychology of professional wrestling because I just know everything about it. That's what they want you to think. But when you do roll-ups all the time, it loses the prestige. It's the same thing as having two wrestlers compete and then they shake hands afterwards. But if you do it every show, it no longer holds prestige. The roll-up is now everybody's finisher. Anyway, Ricochet is losing via the roll-up last night because Rhea Ripley caused the Come on, man. We knew that. We saw this by a mile away. We saw this from a mile away. At least get creative. If you're going to take up the first half an hour of the show, get creative. That was it. Sami Zayn and the Judgment Day into a weird Ricochet Dominic match that ended in a roll-up. That was the first half an hour of your Monday night. Creed brothers then make their main roster debut. They defeat the Alpha Academy. Otis was pinned 1, 2, 3, and after the match, they all shook hands. Because that's 3H's WWE now. After some enthralling competition, you're all going to shake hands, and that way the fans go, wow, Alpha Academy lost, but man, what a show of respect. Man, Alpha Academy is still top-notch to me. Again, once in a while, it works. And it works because it's once in a while. If you do these tactics all the time, you're running them into a brick wall. Good match. I mean, that's not... My standard is higher than that. It's a wrestling show. Yes, the bare minimum should be a good match. Okay, I don't need to see a bunch of wrestling matches on my wrestling show. I'd rather watch character development, and I'd rather watch stories being told. At the pay-per-views, I'll gladly whip out the wallet and throw on a fucking credit card or whatever I gotta do to pay money to watch all of the matches, because then I want to see the culmination of the stories. That's how wrestling used to work. You didn't need 3 hours of a Raw. Back then, we only had 1 hour. It was called Superstars of Wrestling on a Saturday morning. Only 1 hour. But in 1 hour, you told a bunch of great stories, right? Earthquake is fucking sitting on little Damien, the python from Jake Roberts. How dare you kill his snake in the middle of the ring? Oh, man, I gotta watch Jake Roberts get the retribution on Earthquake. He killed the fucking snake in the middle of the ring. You want to talk the snake? How about Jake Roberts taking a cobra and biting Macho Man in the middle of the ring? Blood, paramedics are out there. Man, you had to see Macho Man take Jake Roberts out. The Undertaker taking out Hulk Hogan on the funeral parlor, the way that it was done, and The Undertaker coming out of the casket. Are you kidding me? You gotta see Hulkamania run wild on The Undertaker. I get goosebumps thinking about the stories that were set up and the segments that would set it up. And you had to. I don't care how young you were. You had to find a way. And we grew up in projects. We didn't have another $30 to pay to the cable company. But I begged and I pleaded and I did any chore possible to make mom and dad get that pay-per-view because I had to see it. Nowadays, what are you doing? These shows aren't doing character development. There's no stories being told. They're throwing a bunch of matches out there, and then they throw a bunch of matches out there for their pay-per-views, and then we just repeat the process and the matches. Nothing makes sense anymore. Everything's so fucking confusing. I gotta watch a bunch of face versus face matches, and then afterwards they all end the same. Everybody shake hands now. Good job, man. Wow, you're good. Wow, let's raise your hand so everyone knows you're the next big thing. Creed brothers. Again, good match. But my standards are more than that. Then what? Then what? They had a good match and shook hands. Wow, this is going to be enthralling. I can't wait to spend $50 every month on the fucking Creed brothers. Unless they're booked correctly. Otis looking up at the lights. Why? Why have Otis in a ring like that with the Creed brother if he's just looking up at the lights? Why is Gable losing every show since he's had that matchup with Gunther? Why are you sticking a comedy act like Aerobics Tozawa to make them look even more goofy and just a comedy act? Last night, Ivy Nile, power-bombed. What was it, JR9 game? Was it a power-bomb? Power-bombed fucking Aerobics Tozawa. So Tozawa's just getting his ass whooped by a female. Otis is looking up at the lights. Gable is confused. How did this happen? And then they're just shaking hands like, damn, you're better than us. German suplex. Thank you. Yes, German suplex. That was hour one, guys. That was it. Hour two begins with Miz TV. It's supposed to be Gunther. Imperium comes out, and they start kind of talking shit. Gunther comes out. Then Gunther and Miz start... Literally, guys. Gunther and Miz exchange words, and then they actually come to blows. What the fuck? The crowd didn't know what... For the first time, a crowd that showed up to cheer about anything that Paul Levesque McMahon was putting in front of them, they didn't know what to do. They were like, well, we're not cheering for Miz because he's the annoying, obnoxious idiot. And we're not cheering for Gunther because he's the fucking villainous, evil heel. Why are we even seeing? There's nobody to really cheer for, and it doesn't make sense. So, Gunther and Miz are just brawling. I'm trying to comprehend it. It's the next morning, and I still can't comprehend how this is even possible. What is 3H's possibly thinking here? This is absolutely... I want you to realize this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It is fucking ridiculous. You'd have to be a seriously horrible booker to book this. Bronson Reed versus Gunther. He didn't learn his lesson 2 weeks ago? Two heels facing each other. The crowd was confused, and when it was over, and Bronson was looking at Gunther like, wow, man, I almost had you, but I got beat. Almost like they were trying to get him sympathy. The crowd was silent. They didn't know what to do. Didn't they learn that these two heels, it doesn't work? So then they double down and they take the fucking Miz, the most annoying, obnoxious idiot. And I like the Miz, by the way, but that's his character. And they put him with fucking Gunther, and Gunther's over healing him. And the crowd is like, what the fuck? What is he doing? What is H thinking, man? Faces are taking on faces and shaking hands. Heels are taking on heels every week. Bronson and Gunther. And now it's Miz and Gunther. And then they announced, before they made it a Fatal 4-Way, a segment later, backstage, they announced that Bronson is going to take on Miz, and the winner will take on Gunther. Again, I believe they made it a 4-way after that. But what? So a heel versus heel to get to another heel versus heel match. When the audience is telling you they're confused, and this is the casual audience. This is the audience that WWE has in the palm of their hands, and they're confused. When you start confusing them, you know you done fucking up. Are we trying to turn somebody is what I originally thought. Maybe they're setting up a turn, but there's nobody. Bronson's a beast right now. You know, you're not going to have a face Bronson. And if you were trying to get sympathy 2 weeks ago, it failed miserably. So no, Bronson's not going to be the face. Miz clearly can't be the face. He's the obnoxious, annoying idiot. And Gunther is your villainous heel who was out healing Miz last night. So you're not turning anybody, or at least not correctly. Guys, are you not as mind-boggled watching this? Like, I couldn't... A segment like that you have with a face, and even with face versus Miz in Miz TV, it's like exhausting because usually it's the same type of segment. But this, you're not even allowing your audience to get behind it. And it just hurts the wrestlers because one person has to get out-healed. This is what always happens. Somebody always gets out-healed. I told you that with Bronson and Gunther. Bronson needs to be built up like the Beast. Why is he in there with Gunther when you know he's got to take the L? And he did. And look what happened. They cared even less about him coming out of that match. One person has to be out-healed. I don't know why anybody would ever put two heels together in a wrestling ring. It is the worst possible booking imaginable. Now, you can hate All Elite Wrestling all you want. I get it. So much wrong over there. You can rip apart Tony Khan. We've had to talk in depth about a lot of bad things that Tony Khan either says or does. But you cannot give him worst booker of the year because right now HHH is saying, hold my coffee. Because this is unacceptable booking because you're only hurting your wrestlers. Miz and Gunther. Miz and Bronson were feuding backstage. Heels. We're going to blur the line. I guess this is Levesque McMahon's new direction. We're just going to blur all the lines and everybody's just going to wrestle. Everyone's going to just yell at each other and shake hands and fight each other. There is no more good guys and bad guys. And that's cute to say, right? It's 2023. Good guys and bad guys are no more in pro wrestling. Wrong. The day that there's no more good guys and bad guys is the day pro wrestling, unfortunately, gets the final nail in the coffin. It's done. Just like when kayfabe truly goes away for good, it's 90% already gone. But when that final 10%'s gone, pro wrestling's gone with it. If you take away the good guy versus bad guy philosophy, you just took away pro wrestling, bro. It's Batman, Joker. It's any fucking superhero movie you've ever seen. It's a Transformers versus the fucking evil entity that's out to get. It's classic. And that's what pro wrestling's based upon. Once in a while, of course, you can make a storyline out of faces. Bulldog, Bret Hart, we just brought up, SummerSlam 92. That storyline, see, that's a real storyline, right? Bret Hart's sister is married to the British Bulldog. They're now brother-in-laws. Bulldog wants that IC title. The sister is in the middle. Who is she supporting? And the way they did it was beautiful. Leading into Wembley Stadium, SummerSlam 92. Face versus face, by the way. There's times for it, no question. But the way that HHH is doing this, every single show, it's the same shit to a nauseating degree. You're just running the concepts into the wall, and you're hurting the individuals. This is really bad, man. I really hope people understand. And if you don't, you're going to find out, as time goes on, you're going to find out how badly this is going to hurt individuals. It's gonna happen, man. Paul Levesque McMahon right now just threw the concept of pro wrestling out the window. And hey, if it was going good, then hey, man, good job, Paul. These shows are rocking. It's not. Even the casual fans didn't know what to think last night. BC was ready to put his dome piece to a perk. I couldn't believe the decisions that were being made. Just the decisions. I'm not even talking Sami Zayn and Judgment Day together at the top of the show, at the end of the show. The same redundancy. Put that to the wayside, because we had that last night. In the gimmick matches, the trick or street fight, we had that last night. Put that to the side. The roll-ups, we had that, right? Everything you saw with the McMahon era, VKM, you're seeing with HHH. But I'm talking just decisions. And these are the decisions we've seen from the get-go with the Austin Theory cash-in. How miserable that was. Paul Levesque took credit for that. That was my decision to have him go for the U.S. Championship and lose, and then say, I never thought I was going to beat Roman anyway, so why not go for the title that I just held a month ago? Yeah, that was Levesque McMahon. And then Levesque McMahon took credit for Cody losing at WrestleMania 39, while Cody laid next to a rubber chicken. And Paul Levesque McMahon said, well, I mean, sometimes you make right... This was a quote on the press conference afterwards. The media scrum. Paul Levesque said, sometimes you make right decisions, and, well, sometimes you make wrong ones. He knew he fucked up. I'll never forget Vince Russo. Vince Russo said every time somebody would come to him with ideas, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, or a fucking Billy Gunn, from DX especially, Levesque McMahon never went up to him. Levesque McMahon never had an idea. Now I'm starting to see why, man. This is bad. This is reckless booking right now, man. Miz and Gunther, I cannot tell you how stupid, how utterly stupid this is. It's worse than Bronson Gunther. It should be a fun match, though, man. Well, Gunther will do the Gunther bomb to Bronson. It'll be fun, and it will all pop. How'd that go over for Bronson? Less of a reaction than 2 weeks ago now. You see Miz on his ass while Gunther was yelling at him? You will never take this from me. You're not good enough for me. He's speaking to Miz like Miz is an ultimate face. Miz is not even a face. Nobody gives a fuck about the Miz. Again, I like the Miz. Save what Gunther is doing for a face. You can't. You couldn't even. Really stupid booking. That's that's what I'll say about it, man. DIY is up next versus Imperium. All I have in my notes is DIY defeats Imperium. That's it. Gargano pins Vinci. There was a little bickering between Vinci and Kaiser, obviously, and Gargano pins Vinci. This isn't black and gold, guys. It was sad to see them last night like a shell of what they once were. This is not. If you don't know, allow BC to fill you in. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are banged up. They're banged up. Maybe that's the one good reason they're in a team, right? They can ease up on their bodies a little bit. They're banged up bad. This isn't black and gold from years ago. So this is not the DIY from years ago. I'm afraid I got some bad news, as Wade Barrett used to say. But it's not. And when they sat on the apron and they did what they used to do, the clap, and then the clap, you know, they used to do all that shit back in black and gold. And they did the clap and the crowd didn't even react. You know, it was like, damn, man, like they're really just trying to rely on their old shtick. I had high expectations for Tommaso and Johnny Gargano. And if the best they have is to just try to recreate DIY, I told you guys from the jump, it was never going to work. It's a non-existent division anyway. You can bring over Creed Brothers. You can have banger matches that even Meltzy gives 7 stars to. It won't matter. They don't care about the tag division. And even if they try, they don't know how to properly utilize it. You can say it's a start, and I'll let it play out. Trust me. But just the way that they treat Viking Raiders or Alpha Academy or anybody else, it tells me everything I need to know. DIY together. Okay. Everybody can get their rocks off that it's DIY. I saw Johnny Gargano as a solo wrestler because he's that good to be such. And I saw Tommaso as that. But if I'm going to get them in tag team matches every week going forward, you better make me care. If you think DIY, just because Johnny is together with Tommaso, that I'm going to go, wow, I have to halt life so I can watch the next 10 minutes. No. There's a lot of fans like BC that are not going to do that. Because we saw the best of this years ago. Again, our bar is raised. Our standards are raised. When I see Johnny and Tommaso go to the main roster, I don't think, hey, maybe we can do DIY one day. See, a lot of fans think that way, and there's no problem with it up front, I guess. It just means your bar is low. Just is. Raise it. So no, anybody that thought I was going to fucking rave about DIY and Imperium last night, no, absolutely not. It was actually sad to see. It's sad to see them kind of a shell of what they once were. And we're just going to try to rest on any black and gold fans that will cheer for everything they do. That's what they're going to do. Xia Li was up next, defeating Candice LeRae via ref stoppage after an earth-rattling roundhouse to the dome piece that knocked LeRae into 2024. Xia is a beast. There was a lot of people in the community that thought that was a real injury, how well done it was. I'm not hearing that. JR9, what are you hearing on that, man? It looked like everybody was playing their role beautifully. Xia Li is so realistic that she could make it look like she just took your dome piece off, or she could do it. But that's what Xia Li does. I call her the Brock Lesnar of the women's division. Yeah, JR9, me too, man, me too. But there were some people in the community, they literally were like, we're not going to comment on it because this looked like a legit injury. And I'm like, no, Candice looked like she was playing a role. Much love and appreciation to Candice for putting over Xia the way she did. And Xia just makes it look that realistic. Xia on her social doohickey machine, Xia Li said, I got this business down. How badass is that? I got everybody believing that I really took this chick out. I got this business down. Xia Li is the real motherfucking deal. I told you. JR9, did I not try to tell everybody? And last night, she's got the world thinking, that was some real shit. That's how realistic she is and how badass. And even if she accidentally did take out Candice, that would be unfortunate. Guys, it's not like a Nia Jax situation. It's just not. Xia can actually wrestle. Candice was coming full steam. She hit the roundhouse. That's one of those it ain't ballet type of deals. It's not like she injured 10 individuals. So even if I found out differently, no, I wouldn't be blaming Zaya for this. It's not like a Goldberg when he when he literally kicked Bret Hart square in the freaking dome piece. But I truly believe this was a full work. Again, even if it wasn't and we find out different, I'm not holding Xia Li into any accountability. This was just beautifully done in an accident. But man, Xia Li, man, what a beast. That's impressive. Now, I'll tell you what we didn't need, or we could have gotten for the last 2 months if you were going to do it. Right before the match, they did a Xia Li little vignette, small little hype package. But they also did one for Candice LeRae. And they also did it for about 5 other individuals last night. Listen, vignettes are needed. I tell you guys this all the time. You use vignettes, utilize them to build up characters. For character development, vignettes, hype packages are important. I remember Razor Ramon. This guy was so over before he even debuted. Why? Because for 3 months, they had these hype packages of Razor Ramon walking the streets of Miami like Scarface. And by the time he debuted, that dude was on you knew, you were cheering, booing something, but you were captivated by Razor Ramon. You need those. But if you have a vignette or a hype package for everybody, again, you are wearing it into a wall. Like faces versus faces and shaking hands afterwards, heels versus heels, roll-ups, and now hype packages. This is not the Oprah Winfrey show. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. You get a hype package, you get a hype package, you get a hype package, you get a hype package. Eric Leno, you get a hype package. D-Money A Cash, you get a hype package. Loyal Hive, you get a hype package. James Porsley gets a hype package. JR9, you get 2 hype packages, bro. You all get a hype package because Paul Levesque McMahon is going to give them to everybody. Well, if everybody gets one, it's not special. If the NFL at the top of every season gives everybody a Super Bowl Lombardi trophy, it's no longer special. Before every match, there's a little hype package. Before you know it, you're going to like, oh, here we go. Here goes another fucking, I'm going to the fucking battle. I'm going to fuck. You don't even smoke. You're going out to have a smoke. Pick up a new bad habit because you got another hype package on. Pimpe Seuss, why not what? Why not everybody get a hype pack? Because you're filling the show with nothing but you're not going to remember any of the hype packages. You're filling a quarter of your show with hype packages so that none of them stood out. None of them. We had 6 last night. I barely remember Xia Li's, and that's my gal. Everybody can't have it. You can't do it, man. You got to reserve that for special situations, special characters. And then the other characters that you want to build up, you find other ways. You have to get creative. This is what I mean about lack of creativity. Nobody wants to put any effort into it. I know how to character develop people. Let's make everybody get a vignette and hype package. Get creative. Everybody cannot be built around hype packages. This is the company's problem. Redundancy. They take one thing and they run it into a brick wall. And when the brick wall breaks and shatters, they find another brick wall and they repeat the process. In the business, we call this rinse and repeat. I'm the biggest advocate for hype packages. JR9 will tell you, I've been saying for years you need more of them. For a couple dudes or gals. Spread out. Raw gets one. SmackDown gets one. When that's ran its course, you pick another couple of individuals. You don't have 6 a show. Because now it's not meaningful. You're just telling your audience that every superstar has a hype package. We just don't have to get redundant. And then you're just taking up a bunch of fucking time. You're telling everybody we don't know how to get them over. So hopefully this video gets you excited. Strict Tango, check you. Hour 3. After a Rollins promo, we get Sethington versus JD McDonuts. Sethington pins McDonuts via the stomp finisher. That's all that's in my notes. That's all that happened, guys. As Jer9 said, Drew's over in Scotland right now. They got an event coming up, and so Seth was just taken out. Seth was just with Judgment Day. That's it. That's what you do, man. It doesn't matter if Drew's there or not. The backup or the original plan is always going to be revolving around Judgment Day. So Seth is just intertwined with McDonuts. Stomp finisher. I wish I could tell. I'm dragging this out. That's it. That's in my notes, and that's all that happened with Sethington last night. And then they did the stupid song in the crowd for 10 minutes. Well, everybody was The Walking Dead. Then there was a trick or street fight. Trick or street fight. Chelsea Green versus Natty Neidhart. Chelsea and Piper dressed as the Hart Foundation. And they nailed it, by the way. They really did. Piper was the anvil, you would have thought. And Natty was a sex kitten. It fits now. I mean, Natty's a sex kitten anyway, 24/7, so she probably was loving this. And then she goes into her booyakas were flapping out, waving in the breeze. She's going to the front row and hugging people. I tell you, man. Wow. Natty. Sex kitten Natty versus Brett the Hitman Green. Chelsea the Hitman Green. I don't know. She was Bret Hart. So they're dressed up. Pumpkin. Well, hold on. Let me say how it's in my notes, all right? Because it's funny. This is what I wrote in my season. I was trying to give myself a laugh when I was doing the notes. I said, Chelsea and Piper dressed as the Hart Foundation, and Natty as a sex kitten. Yeah. I put an LA Knight, in my notes because I was just making myself laugh. But anyway, it's everything I told you guys, man. I was really this was the statement. This was the statement that Levesque McMahon needed to make. This is a different show. We promise. The traditional, stupid, obnoxious trick or street food fight type of match. That's done. It puts the wrestlers in a bad situation and it embarrasses them. It puts our commentators in a bad situation because they don't know how to call it. And last night was the worst I've ever heard. Nothing good comes from it. And instead, Paul Levesque McMahon tripled down on it. And you had everything. You had Chelsea bobbing for apples. Or maybe it was Natty bobbing for apples. You had Piper Niven involved with a pie in the face. You had the candy corn kendo sticks draped in candy corn. Michael Cole screaming, the corny candy stick, the corny candy stick. Yeah, very corny, Michael. He knew what he was saying. You had a bag full of candy corn, actual candy corn. Michael Cole screaming, the candy corn, Wade, not the candy corn. That was a quote from Michael Cole. And they were just mocking, by the way. They're having fun. Totally mocking it. They didn't know what to say. It got so bad at one point, guys, that on the outside, something happened where everybody was just botching because they didn't know where to go, what to do. Pumpkins are being flown around. And Wade Barrett, you can hear him start to laugh on commentary. Like he just didn't know where to take this. He didn't know what to say. And Michael Cole just starts laughing. He goes, thank goodness it's just one night a year, folks. Like he just had to remind everybody, guys, just bear with us, please. It's one night of the year, but it's not. You're going to see it at Thanksgiving. You'll see the Christmas Miracle on 34th Street at the Christmas time. This is what you do. So it's not 1 day out of the year, but even Michael Cole was just like, I don't know what this, guys, stick with us, please. This is one night of the year. There was no way there was no coming back from it. And then Chelsea goes to a table and she accidentally lifts a pumpkin that has Nikki Cross's head under it. Nikki's under a table, but her head is like peeking up. So she was supposed to go to the other ones and then go to that last. She accidentally goes to that. So she sees Nikki and she puts it back and she's not freaked out. She's like, Nikki Cross. She goes to the other pumpkin. She puts it back and she says, no, I'm going to go back to the big one. She lifts it again and it's Nikki Cross. And this time she's like, it's Nikki. Oh, God, it's Nikki's head. And she starts, and somehow she was so freaked out, the pumpkin fell on her head. So the pumpkin goes on Chelsea. Now, Chelsea, guys, I'm not making this up, man. This is what I mean. This is what I'm reviewing. I mean, a lot of my audience, they don't watch the show because it's so bad. They depend on BC to tell them in the review what happened. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not being harsh or negative. I'm telling you the review. Chelsea, at this point, has a pumpkin on her head, and she's running around, and she runs into the post. And when I say runs in, I mean like horribly, gently jogs into the post. Doesn't even hit it because the steel steps are in the way first, but she acts like she hit the fucking thing, and then she knocks herself out, and the pumpkin falls off her head. And moments later, she somehow comes to life, and she hits a power bomb or something on the candy corn. So Natty takes the devastating hit, not on the thumbtacks, but on the candy corn. And Chelsea ends up winning this matchup. How's that for a review? I mean, how do you discuss this any other way than I just did, man? That's what happened. Michael Cole the whole time. The whole time, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett have to mock it. It's not even just having fun with it, which in years past they tried to do, have some jokes, have some fun with. They had to mock it. Michael Cole has given up anyway. Michael Cole's almost done, guys. He's like over half deaf, I think he said. He admitted that on Pat McAfee's show, and that's unfortunate because I like Michael Cole. I really like Michael Cole. And you don't realize how important he is until you don't have Michael Cole. But Michael Cole is really good at what he does. It sucks that he's half deaf, and it sucks that he's winding down. But I mean, they've worked this guy into the ground so many times, and I think with the whole transition, and there's nothing more. So Michael Cole's checked out. And when you have this in front of him, what do you think Michael Cole can do? Michael Cole's done. So they had to mock it. So think of the performers who are trying to make the best. They're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And the commentary team, and I can't even blame them, is making fun of them. Mocking them. Telling the audience, bear with us, guys. It's one night of the year. We can't wait to get this trash over with, basically. The commentary is telling you that. Right? So for any fan to tell you, oh, stop. It's just a little bit of fun on a 3-hour show. You guys need to relax. The commentary team is telling you we can't wait to get this off the air. This is fucking bad. Commentary was telling you this. So those fans are cute to try to defend the show, but when commentary is like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? When the people running the show are telling you, wow, this is really bad, maybe you should believe them. So you get some giggles out of this, hopefully. You saw Natty and her booyakas with this whole sex kitten thing. We got to laugh with the Hart Foundation. Other than that, guys, I'm being completely serious here when I say this. I don't care about this tradition anymore. The tradition needs to be broken. No more of these gimmick matches, please. It's not about just having giggles and putting a smile on people's face anymore. You're not understanding the problem here. You are hurting these individuals. The characters, the wrestlers don't deserve to be put in these positions. Losing by being powerbombed on candy corn. Or running around with a pumpkin on your head. Or bobbing for apples. I don't blame Toni Storm for saying that was one of the reasons she had to get out of WWF, because Charlie Flair's hitting her with pies. Fucking dancing around in black and white in AEW right now is putting Toni Storm way more over than pies in the face. When the negative outweighs the positives, that's where the issue is. So the giggles are far outweighed by the damage that is being done. That was a champion underneath that pumpkin, by the way. Again, that thumbnail that you see to this live stream, that's not Natty. I know it looks like her outfit, but they were just dressed up as the Hart Foundation. That's Chelsea Green with a pumpkin on her head. That was from last night. That's not Natty. You can see her hair underneath the pump. That's Chelsea. That's your champion, guys. She's a tag team champion of the world. Is he, Chris? Is he to you? That's awesome, man. I mean that. That's awesome. I know a lot of people giggled over Ninja Tozawa and now Aerobics Tozawa, Trash Can Tozawa, Christmas Tree Tozawa. I'm just over the Tozawa shit. I'm sick of giggling at Tozawa. I don't know what we're doing with Tozawa. I know he's a decent wrestler. I just haven't cared about him in the longest time. I just know that for 3 years we've been giggling at Tozawa. And then they recreate a new giggling way to laugh at Tozawa. So no, Chris, I'm not going to agree with that sentiment. I know a lot of people do agree with you though, when they laugh, right? You get the new Tozawa, he's like, yeah, look at me, I'm doing my new dance. And when he got the German suplex from Ivy Nile last night, people were like, oh man, Tozawa just got beat by a girl. I know people are giggling, and that's fine. That's in the eye of the beholder. I'm not throwing shade at that. But me, I stopped laughing at Tozawa a long time ago, a very long time ago. Because this is not helping anybody. It's not helping the product. And I still don't know what the fuck they're even doing with Tozawa. And then we went into the main event. Damian Priest defeats Sami Zayn via DQ. That's all that's in the notes. Sami Zayn defeated because Jey Uso comes out and he kicks Damian Priest. So the referee sees it and Sami's... That's it. McDonuts, Balor, maybe other... I don't know. People were showing up and they were taking out Sammy, and then Cody Rhodes comes out limping on his bad foot. And of course, like every show ends, the faces clear out the heels and the heels run away. That was it. JR9 Gaming, I said that yesterday. I said, watch, Raw will end yet again with all the faces clearing out the heels. And when that happens every show, why would you ever even need to spend $10 on a Saturday afternoon's Crown Jewel? Why? Every fucking show, the faces are clearing out the heels. You don't have to pay any money or waste any time seeing a culminating moment or seeing somebody get retribution, revenge, or the ultimate upper hand. You get none of that. The faces are always just making sure that everybody goes home happy, right? It's a house show. I called it that in the cold open of this review. This was nothing more than a house show. These shows are nothing more than house shows. Make the crowd go home happy. It used to be the show ends the way it ends, and then maybe you have a dark match after where the faces win, and then everybody in the crowd gets to go home happy. Now they just want to make sure that everyone smiles when Raw goes off the air at home. That's not making anybody have to tune in the next week. And you wonder why the ratings are in the shitter. 2 straight weeks of being in the 1-4s. That rating will go a little bit up because the Monday Night Football game was so bad last night. Lions versus the Raiders. But drastically up? No, because the show just was trash. The faces take us off the air in celebration. So I don't know why anybody would need to fucking get the pay-per-view to see the faces go over. But then again, with Levesque McMahon, he doesn't do faces and heels. It's just everybody is just a wrestler and we're just going to do a bunch of matches and the crowd can just sit there and like NASCAR, just pick your number, pick your favorite wrestler and just cheer for that one. We're not going to give any reasons. Salute, guys. That's what I got for you. I wanted this to be about an hour. We're headed toward an hour and a half. So I'm going to let you guys rock out the rest of your Tuesdays. I really do appreciate you guys that tuned in live on just 20 minutes, 25 minutes of notice. I really do appreciate that. I never really know ahead of time if I'm going to do live or not. I see what I have time for. And the editing at times throughout the day can just be a bit much, so I wanted to do this live. Before I take off, though, I do want to give a shout-out over to Big Nang with that 5-spot coffee. Big Nang, I appreciate you, dude. Amped, serious Miz, always been his best. Just hate how he's 50-50 booked, or worse, 90-10, basically. I'm actually looking forward for a future Miz-Gunther feud. Okay, Big Nang, thanks for telling me, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not at all looking forward to Miz and Gunther's feud. But I'm glad you are, Big Nang, and I mean that, man. And that's what they're hoping for. This company is hoping that there are enough fans to just buy into the bullshit. Miz and Gunther. All right. I mean, Miz and LA Knight, that works. Miz is that annoying little idiot, obnoxious, and LA Knight's the perfect face. Heel versus heel, and especially Gunther Miz. You saw the crowd just didn't know what to do last night. Just doesn't work. Doesn't work. But I don't know, man. Some people are going to be okay with just heel, face, but whatever. There's more power to you, man. But I appreciate the coffee, man, and I hope that you get Miz in the Gunther match in the future. I hope you enjoy it, dude. I really do. Guys, salute, rock it out. NXT is tonight. I might be able to catch some of it. So hopefully in my next upload, I can talk a little bit about it. Either way, I know JR9 will hit us with the report from NXT. Enjoy the show, by the way, JR9. I know you're about to hit up that show, so I hope they rock it out, man. At least house shows, you know what to do. You could just go to the house show and be captivated, right? But when it's a television show, it's a whole nother shindig. All right, guys, I'm going to down the rest of this, get a couple more coffees, and then I got to go out in the world. Man, it's already past noon now. I got to go out in the world and take care of a lot of biz. So until next time, and there will be that next time, top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Salute. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'll give you a DIY little clap. There you go. Check you guys.